Coinbase is launching futures. The Silk Road hacker got caught, and Elon is going to charge you $1. This is Around the Blockchain. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And a reminder, we're only going to be on Discover Crypto starting next week. But you still come here for the coffee and crypto. But, guys, go ahead and hit that like button. We got 4 phenomenal guests. We're going to go ahead and start with the birthday man. It is Scott's birthday today. Scott, you're turning 21, I'm assuming here. Scott, how are you doing
today? I'm going to have my first drink and everything.
All right. Happy birthday. What's the horoscope today? What do the sorcerers say?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I haven't checked my horoscope in a long time.
What is the sign? Right,
I'm a Libra.
Libra. All right, Libra's in the chat. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Let's show them some Libra love. But we're not talking about Zuckerberg's coin. Also on today, we have Fettucine. Also, guys, hit that like button if you like good Italian pasta. Fettucine. We got your NFT up on the thumbnail, correct? What's that project?
That is Angel Baby Hit Squad, soon to become Club of the Cherubim. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Always a great time. One of the few people I've met IRL is just as nice on camera as he is off. And then also we got Crypto Blood. The markets are putting him to sleep. But he's about to wake up and try to get a victory today. Blood, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, DZ. How you doing, man?
I apologize. We started 4 minutes late.
Must be cold in the studio. You got a little hoodie on, and
you were here. You know. All right, and then last but not least, we got Drew Wolfer. Haters will say his dimples were airbrushed. Drew, how are you doing today?
It's all good, man. Coming from sunny Florida, only thing that's more beautiful than Florida is my wife. So, doing good.
Geez, you know what? That's 2 points right there. And I got to give the birthday guy a point as well. All right, let's talk about the Coinbase futures. Are you excited? We can now trade futures on Coinbase. But there's a catch. Not if you live in the U.S. and not if you live in the U.K. It's going to be on their Coinbase Advanced platform, and it's going to have spot and futures trading. Let's talk about the numbers here. Well, they are going to have Bitcoin, ETH, Litecoin, XRP. Everything's going to be 5x leverage max, except for XRP. They lowered it. XRP is only a 3x max. And Coinbase wanted to highlight, look, the assets are going to be customer assets. They're held 1-for-1, and their leverage trading, the futures exchange, is capitalized through insurance fund and liquidity support program and USDC. It's not in an exchange token. It's not a bunch of fluff numbers out there. It's actual real liquidity behind it. And USDC, I would say, yeah, there's pretty much real liquidity behind that. Now, Scott, Mr. Birthday Guy here, based in America, a lot of people are just wondering, well, that sounds fine and dandy for the other 183 countries. But what about the U.S. and UK? Do you have any prediction on if or when they'll roll out futures trading for U.S. customers?
I mean, we're just seeing so back and forth on crypto in general in the U.S. And we're going into an election year. It's hard to determine when any of this is going to settle, right? I mean, there's all this talk about getting Gary Gensler out of there. The U.S. is definitely upset that we're behind the rest of the world. The U.S. likes to usually try to lead, right, by example, or be a leader in many of these different markets that are expanding. But right now we're behind. And I don't think we're really going to be able to see anything like this come to fruition until we get to the end of the election cycle. It's just my thoughts on it. It's going to be a polarizing topic.
All right. Very, very polarizing. Well, let's go over here to Fettucine. I want to ask you about Coinbase, polarizing the industry. A lot of people are saying they're in first. They got a lot of regulatory approval. They wanted to champion FTX. That didn't work out, so now maybe they have to have a new anointed exchange here. Do you think Coinbase is going to be that exchange? Can Coinbase be the world's #1 crypto company and potentially even $1 trillion company?
I think right now it's at the forefront of that for sure. I think we're light years behind where we need to be in terms of regulation. And just in terms of traditional financial systems, there's so many different things that we can do with traditional finances that we can't do with crypto yet. And most of that is because of the regulatory landscape. So until that catches up, I think we're not anywhere close to where we need to be. Just in terms of futures contracts and options, that market in traditional finance and stock market is bigger than just standard buys and sells. And that's not even an option in the US as we see right now. So hopefully in the future we get that released and we could see. I think then people will actually give legitimacy to the crypto industry. People still see it as like as a non asset. They think it's fake money, and once they see that it's the same, you could trade the same way as you could trade traditional stocks and traditional equities, then I think that we could actually be established as an industry.
Fettuccine, can Coinbase ever get bigger than Binance?
Um, I think so. I think the U.S. can dominate, and I mean, with that regulatory change, I would hope so because we've always been or the U.S. has always been at the forefront of innovation. And I think recent years we've kind of fallen back, especially in the crypto world. And if we can create those changes in the government and solidify that, then maybe we could take the number one spot again. And
All
Coinbase is
right.
at that.
All right, like the Nelly song, number one. All right, well, Crypto Blood, I want to ask you, a lot of people, now that there's going to be expanded leverage trading options, a lot of people, especially as we get closer to the bull run, it's going to be a lot of newcomers in the space. People would never leverage trade, but they get that taste. They get that beginner's luck. That first trade's in the green. They actually close it for some reason, and then they're hooked. Just like me, probably just like you, just like a lot of people watching. Hit the like button if you got that hook. What is one tip you would give to people about to start leverage trading? And hold up, the tip can't be don't.
The tip, oh man, leverage trading. Start trading without leverage first.
Ooh.
How about doing that? Yeah, start with no leverage.
Can I do
See how you do.
1.2x at least? I need a little something.
If you want to.
Okay,
but at the end of the day, it's all about risk management. And if you're going to leverage, you got to make sure you understand how much margin you're putting up on the trade. You don't want to margin your whole account for one trade. I would say spread it across maybe 3 or 4 pairs. That's harder to do because you have more pairs to track and more trades to track. But ultimately, you're spreading your risk around a little bit. But I would just say, man, honestly, starting out, don't do any leverage trading. Keep it a buck for a buck. Keep it 100.
All right,
bro.
Yeah,
Hey,
it
it's
is
like-
very easy to lose your shirt. Go ahead.
I'll say it's like Lil Wayne said, right? Scared money don't make money. Just throw it all in, blood. Let's go.
Scared money don't make money.
One
Also,
Lambo,
a great
man,
Brown Chakra song.
You just turned 21. You should have some more wisdom, man. Don't
He's,
tell
I
these
don't,
people that.
look, he might be older than
Okay,
21.
I'm
folks.
really 39, but let's,
Oh,
let's
okay,
Hey,
okay.
Shout out to
Round
the
of applause.
39-year-olds. Hey, I'm up. Wait, is 60%
Yeah,
of us
almost.
39?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
38. I'm
All
38.
right, pretty close. All right, Drew, some say, why does he already have 2 points? But Drew, I want to ask you, if Coinbase were able to get all the regulatory approval from all 50 states, Gary Gensler, he even likes them. He's hanging out with my bald brother, Brian there. If that were to happen, would you feel comfortable ditching all traditional banking and moving all your banking to Coinbase?
Man, I'm not a huge proponent of single points of failure.
Ooh,
so
good
I
point.
would say probably not. I would say I would put them. I'm all about rotations, man. I eat pizza, I eat tacos. Everything's in a rotation. It's a rotational basis. So spreading that exposure and that risk across. Yeah. So spreading that
Spit take.
risk
That was
across
good.
like a bunch of different, I guess, exposures is probably best. So, for example, do you just have one bank account or do you have multiple bank accounts under multiple banks? A lot of people do that. A lot of people have multiple credit cards, multiple checking and savings accounts. Heck, we even have different exchanges that we trade different cryptocurrencies on. I would be comfortable. I've actually been on Coinbase since about 2013, 2014. I think it was 2014 whenever I first entered. And so I've been around for quite a while where I do have quite a bit of trust in Coinbase. And so I would be okay with bringing them kind of into my circle of trust, my rotation, if everybody were to kind of like co-sign them, and like you said, Gary's kind of co-signing them, but we don't know where Gary's going to be after this next election cycle anyway. So, somebody else could come in and totally just demolish all of that. And again, shout out, happy birthday to the birthday boy. His hair's on point today and he looks great for 39. So.
All right, one more point. You know what? It might be getting stacked in his favor here. All right, let's talk about the Silk Road hacker that got caught. I'm talking about James Zong. Here we have a quote from him here. The theft of Bitcoin, the top $3 billion. We're not talking about your normal hack, $41 million. This guy stole 50,000 Bitcoin, but I always knew what I did was wrong. Here, I want to show you some pictures CNBC put out a fantastic 35-minute documentary on it last night. Sorry, 33 minutes and 40 seconds. You can catch it on YouTube. Let's look at some of the story, the pictures here. I'll kind of paint out the story. It started with a break-in. Someone broke into his home. They stole about $400,000 in cash and also stole some Bitcoin on a laptop. I'm having a panic attack, he told the 911 operator. The cops didn't end up helping, and he ends up hiring a private investigator. Private investigator, started looking at some of his footage. Here's the footage of the of the burglar breaking into his home in March 2019. Keep moving. We keep moving. The guy was living a high partying lifestyle downtown Athens. I'm talking about a lifestyle filled with liquor, clubs, ladies, cocaine. He was out there. He was partying on top of yachts, folks, spending the stolen Bitcoin. $50K. Here's one of his friends. Everyone speaking out against him, but I highly recommend checking it out. It's on the Silk Road hack. Let's see if I have the years. They stole 50,000 Bitcoin. It's a little bit vague on how he stole. He said he stole it by double clicking, and it worked. Although most experts think there's some software involved here. Well, unbeknownst to James, he was long time a suspect. They suspected him 3 years before the break-in. It just never had a way in. They set him up. They said, hey, we're going to talk about the burglary. They get him in his home. They said, hey, can you just show us your Bitcoin on your laptop? Got him. Hey, do you mind turning around as I punch in my password? They then separated from his laptop, gave him a search warrant, took his computer from him and said, it is all ours now. And then they end up finding the hardware wallet with 50,000 Bitcoin. Now, Scott, this is a whole roller coaster. There's a whole story here. I just want to ask you, what emotions were you feeling when you kind of heard this story, was going over what happened?
Yeah, I was just reading it before we got on here, actually, and I feel bad for the guy. He just kind of seems like he never really had any friends, and he wasn't like, I guess, one of the cool kids, and he was just trying to impress everyone. I mean, there was a story in there where he took him and all of his friends to a football game or something in Los Angeles, and then
Rose Bowl, I believe.
Yeah, took them on a private jet, and then gave them all 10 grand cash each to go spend on Rodeo Drive. He told the feds when they were in his house that he had this like lockbox that he kept $1 million in to try to impress a girl. And then they were like, did it impress her? He's like, no, she didn't care.
Yeah, and then he responded, it never does.
Yeah, it never does. But I will say, it just goes to show you that greed always wins in the end, because dude is sitting on billions of dollars and he's still worried about something that happened, like his house getting broken into. Like the amount of money that got stolen compared to what he had, I would have been like, you know what, guys, I don't even care. The past is the past. See you later. But like that greed of, hey, I need to get that back, is what brought in the police and ultimately led to him getting caught and arrested.
Yeah. Hey, I have billions in Bitcoin, but they stole my $400,000. I got to get it back.
Exactly.
All right. Fettucine, I have a question for you. What are the odds? Well, one, what do you think of that? The human greed element. Why did he call the cops on 400K when he had billions? And do you think it was the feds that initiated the break-in to initiate the police call?
I think that's crazy. If I had 3 billion in the bank account that I knew I got illegally, I definitely wouldn't be reporting and inviting in the police to investigate a $400,000 crime. I think that there's a lot lower of a chance of it being the feds doing this as a break-in. I think that many people have stolen a lot less in the past. I've heard of friends in the space who have been robbed for 100 grand, or people who have gotten broken into because they heard that they had a lot of crypto in their account, and even though they didn't know how to get into it. So I highly doubt that the feds did it for only 400,000 or just for the access. I think that they have a lot better ways of getting into it. So I don't think it's very likely.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things with the story I don't find likely. Apparently, he was continuing his work even today, but it's in robotic drones or something. But it's like, well, why, if he's working for the government, why wouldn't they just have him doing blockchain sleuthing, which I think is what he's doing, but they can't burn his contacts. So he's an OG Bitcoiner.
You see a lot of these people who get caught for financial crimes then coming on and becoming like a government analyst. So it would be interesting to see if he does continue on that route with them.
Fun fact, keep in mind, Yeah, exactly. Frank Abagnale, not Abagnale, it's Abagnale. Fun fact, he mined 300,000 Bitcoin in the early days of Bitcoin before he ended up stealing 50K. That's according to his words. I mean, I haven't verified myself. All right, Crypto Blood, he stole billions at today's prices. At the time it was, but he ended up stealing a whole lot of money. But I want to share this paragraph right here. Not only did he pay for all the tickets to the Rose Bowl, but someone mentioned earlier, but he also rented a private jet. And then he gave each friend $10K to spend on outfits, accessories. He'd go downtown Athens, Georgia. He's tipping heavy. He's literally buying the bar. He's buying rounds for every person inside. Apparently, he made it snow like Young Jeezy. I want to ask you, if you had to categorize this guy, would you categorize him as SBF, out there spending other people's money? Or would you categorize him, he's just a Robin Hood? He stole from the rich and he gave to the poor.
This is what he should have. He should have gone with the paid in full, Mitch. You gotta walk around and act
Great
like you
movie.
ain't got no money, man. You gotta act like you got no
I ain't
money,
got
man.
no money.
Yeah, I'm broke, baby. That's what he should have been doing instead of going out there spending money on women that didn't like him. Man, if you can't he deserves to be in jail, first of all. Because if you can't get abroad with $1 million, bruh, something is wrong. Something is really wrong. So, hey, go to jail, pass go, don't collect the $4 billion and sit your ass down. That's what I say.
All right. And he did end up having a girl. The girl was in the car. Sorry. Drew Wolfer, last question
listen,
here.
You should be able to get a girl with $0. Zero.
Yes. Well, no comment there. Drew's smirking devilishly here. Well, Drew, hey, Blood said he should do time. He's doing a year and a day, 366 days. If you're the judge, what would you sentence this guy? Does he deserve 1 year? Does he deserve more? Should it be 10, 25, life sentence?
I don't think he deserves that much more, to be honest with you. I mean, he did do a crime. Like, we get it. If he committed actual wire fraud, and I get it. He does have to do some time. I get that. I think his time should probably be pretty minimal, because at the end of the day, let's be real. The government is the one that came out on top here. They, to the tune of billions of dollars, because they've confiscated this. And let's be real, the people that were selling cocaine, meth, whatever it was on Silk Road, they're not going to claim those Bitcoins. So, the government's the one that really came out on top here. And those people weren't going to pay taxes anyways or anything like that. So, but I'm just going to come out and say it, because I don't feel like anybody's really said it. And I'll take it there. This dude's an idiot. This is self-snitching at its finest. This is something that you don't do. He broke literally code number 1. You don't self-snitch on yourself and bring things like this to the light. This dude was literally worth billions of dollars. He had stolen 50,000 Bitcoin. And if that is true, that he mined 300,000 Bitcoin, it makes him an even bigger imbecile, in my opinion, because 150 Bitcoin, divide that by the 50,000 that he took from the Silk Road. It's 0.3% of what he took. They saw $60 to $70 million on his laptop. This guy's got 150 Bitcoin that got stolen from him that's worth at best 60 grand or 600 grand at the time. Dude, what are you doing? He's living life just an insane life, and he's sitting over here worried about.
It's the equivalent of a drug dealer's stash house being robbed, right?
Yeah.
And he goes and calls the cop.
Yeah, it was actually first season of Better Call Saul. Yeah, this literal
The craziest part is that he hired a private investigator after he called the cops. Dude, shouldn't that have just been your first move? You're moving in the dark anyways, right? You're in the gray market, call it Lil Wayne. Real G's moving silence like lasagna, right? You did a Jeezy reference earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. So
6'7" reference there.
I got one for you. I got a good one.
I thought you were street smart, bro.
I thought you were straight smart, bro.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, he deserves to do a little bit of time. Does he deserve to do 20 years? Absolutely not. He took from people that everybody doesn't necessarily like.
I got a question now. I got a question. So if he took from Silk Road, was he on there participating in the activities as well?
He bought cocaine. In his own words, he was using it to buy cocaine. So
Hit him
no,
for
I think he
that
needs.
then.
that
Just
was
hit
I
him
his.
for
think he needs
that.
to go to
Get him
All
a
jail
right.
for
couple
a little
extra
bit
years.
longer, man.
There
Do a
was a
little bit more
story.
Yeah, let
time.
him do a couple of years. He didn't really do anything like too crazy. I mean, you see people getting slaps on the wrist for stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from like legitimate investors and things like that. So, I mean, to treat this dude any differently from stealing it from essentially like career criminals and people that you don't want this, to have
Oh,
these
yeah,
types of funds in their
I
hands.
see why he can't get a woman.
The
Man, listen,
the
you
All right.
other
got 3 billion. Get your ass in the gym. Come on.
I was about to
the
say
other
the same
lawyer,
Well,
thing.
all right. Well, I will end with this. Flippa Frank brought up a good point. I'm almost forgetting one of the funnest parts of the story. He was bragging about having $30,000 of cocaine back at his house at a bar with some women sitting at the table next to him. Off-duty police officer wrote everything down. So not only did he snitch on himself, he was snitching on himself several times. So
Wait a
James
minute.
the,
Zong,
He
the
had
other
30,000 worth of coke. That's enough to be a distribution charge.
well, he
well
flushed it down the toilet. Maybe I
lawyer
don't know. Hey, look,
the
that was
other
a fun
lawyer made
Friday
a good
night.
point.
It was. Look, last
other-
night was
Very
mad
smart
real.
dev.
They said.
Very smart dev, dumb
The
human.
other lawyer made a good point though that it had the government seized the Bitcoin when he first stole it, it would have only been like $1 million.
Yep.
And
Yep.
because they squeezed it so much longer, they made 3 billion. So they really profited from it. So I think that's why he got such a light sentence too.
Yep. And,
They're the
and
true
Tim
winners.
Draper would have bought it 88 cents on the dollar. All right. Well, let's move on here. Speaking of a dollar, nice little segue here. Elon is going to charge you $1 to use X. Guys, we could talk about James Zong all day. I highly recommend everyone go watch that after this video, after you go watch the 4 channels below here. And then it's really, really good. It's about 35 minutes. But Elon has now announced a new change to Twitter. It's going to charge everybody $1. Except it's only going to be in New Zealand and the Philippines at first. This is a test, and the test is to get rid of the bots. Apparently, hey, you charge $1 here, you're going to have people have to link a bank account of some sort, and then that might deter people from acting fraudulently. Well, a lot of people were questioning that, like Zach XBT, Chainlink God, pointed out a pretty good point here. Hey, people have already bypassed that system check, and they literally have yellow check marks, and they're literally scamming people. So I don't know how much, I don't know if it'll eliminate it completely, but maybe it's more of a deterrent here. X only has an $8 per month plan, but according to recently discovered code, they're about to ship 3 premium tiers, with one being fully ad free. So that's going to be interesting to see how they roll that out as well. Now, Scott, I just got to ask you the simple question: $1 a month for everybody. Will that get rid of bots?
I think it's a step in the right direction, and I'm probably going to go against the grain here, but you're talking to someone who's been on YouTube since 2009 as a content creator. And, my dad had a saying growing up because we lived in a not so nice area when I was a kid, and we had a fenced in driveway. And he used to always say to me, you know what? A fence keeps an honest person honest because it's like one more layer of security before they could go in the driveway and possibly break into our vehicles. And on Twitter, and you guys see this all the time, like it's just a constant barrage of bots. And for someone like me, I like to keep my DMs open. That's how I do a lot of my networking. It's how I actually meet a lot of new people in the space. It's how I'm able to go back and forth, even with community members that might have questions about what we're building over on our space, right? And to be able to have to pay to play, per se, like you're not going to make 10 different spam bot accounts if you know now you get to pay $1 per account or whatever it ends up being. And I've also been saying this for a long time on YouTube too. And this is what I say to fellow creators. And that's why I always tell people like, hey, YouTube is great, but what are you doing outside of YouTube in case something like this happens? Like, what if tomorrow YouTube says, hey, you want to be on our platform? We're charging $3, $4, $5 a month. What do you have outside of that? Do you have a website? Do you have an email list? That's getting a little off topic, but in terms of Twitter, yeah, I mean, I think there needs to be a step in the right direction of keeping people as honest as possible on the platform, because that's going to allow people like us who are trying to engage and build a business. It's going to allow us to have, not be speaking to bots or wasting our time with scammers.
All right. All right. Well, I want to get over to you, Fettucine, here and talk about the pricing options. The nerds, the DNGs, I joke, the James Zongs, I kid. They looked into the code and they found 3 distinct pricing tiers here. The top tier, ad free. What do you think they're going to end up at for the pricing here? What would you charge?
Well, I could see you making the argument that you could be using Twitter as like a form of entertainment. And you look at Netflix and it's $10 a month, or any of these other entertainment platforms. So I could see it being anywhere in like the $10 to $15 a month range. I think that it is. I mean, there's two different routes that we could go to get rid of these bots, and they are really annoying and they scam people. You could either do the dollar a month that Elon's trying out, or we could go full KYC. And I think that people don't really like the idea of that, especially in the crypto world. So I think that it's an interesting experiment, and I'm looking forward to seeing if it helps at all.
All right. Funny comment from Catch Them All. He's always got the good ones. For Scott, it does go down in the DMs. Scott, can you verify?
Can I verify what? Did I go down the DMs?
No, it goes down, not you. All right, we're already moving on. You made it weird, man. You made it weird. Crypto Club. All right. Well, I want to ask you about Elon's ability to make the WeChat competitor that he's dreaming of. What are the odds? And what do you think about Twitter's odds, X's odds? Can they make the everything app?
Yeah. If there was anyone to do it, it would be Elon Musk, and I think he can do it. He can pull it off for sure, and he's going in the right direction. I mean, he's already getting all the money transmitter licenses for each state and all that stuff. So the framework is being put into place, DZ, and I think it's going to be. He's got the best chance of doing it. To be honest with you.
What timeline would you give it where you literally are paying your light bill, you sent your cousin some money, and it's a social media, and you watch the newest Mr. Beast video? Is this a 1 year timeline or like a 10-year timeline?
Well, just off topic, if you look at how Tucker has aligned with X, right? Like he's on fire. So I think people like him joining the platform, he's getting all the chips in line, DZ, and I think he's going to really take over the game with this X. I'm just not into taking X.
Okay, all right. I haven't taken it in years because it's all bad, and there's a sassafras root bottleneck. Anyways, I digress here. Drew Wolfer, that was too much alpha for people there. Drew Molly's
Too
fake.
much.
It's bath salts. Drew, before I go too far off the rails here, I want to ask you, since you are a founder, so you kind of understand what it is like to compete against these tech behemoths. I want to ask you about decentralized social. If you read the book, Elon, with his brother, he almost considered, he had two options: buy Twitter or just make a competitor that was going to be decentralized social. He ended up buying Twitter, kind of got stuck buying Twitter. Well, what are the odds that DeSo can take on these traditional media companies? And, if it does take over, what's the timeline for that as well?
Man, that's tough because just knowing how tech companies work in the background and how software is, dude, it's extremely competitive. First off, it's extremely intricate. Second off, and everything rolls out in batches. Like it's not like you have to kind of like build it piece by piece, brick by brick. So it would have to be rolled out in kind of like batches, which is, you see him doing it right now with, saying, okay, we're going to take this more to a subscription based model. He started off with saying, hey, if you want a blue check mark, you got to pay for that. Yellow check mark, you got to pay for that. There's only a few people that don't, right? And so you're kind of seeing it pivot towards that model. And I'll be honest with you, I've had the same criticisms of my own software where we literally charge $1. Like on pre-send, it's guaranteed you have to pay $1 to protect your transaction. And people are like, that's too much money. And I'm like, yeah, but we're a business. We have to generate income. And that's why Elon bought this. Is it's a business. And there's only so many ways that they can generate income. And one of those major ways is through advertising. So once you run out of ad space, and I know people think that there's an unlimited amount of advertising space on a social platform like this, but there isn't, because there's a limited amount of eyes, especially when you're making people pay to be on the platform. But you can either raise the prices to your advertisers, which is going to make them mad, and then maybe they go and pump it on a different platform and push that different platform, or you can start putting in kind of like these minuscule fees that push you to where you need to go in order to kind of facilitate that adoption of an all-encompassing platform. And I think Elon is the person that's going to do this, but I think it's going to take him a couple of years at the very least to get it to where it is something like that. And I do see him bringing in X Bank, which is the bank that he founded. We were talking about this like a week ago on ATB, where he founded that back in 1999, right after PayPal, kind of like almost foreshadowing that he was going to be doing all of these digital payments. And now he has this social platform. And I think he could really kind of like all encompass this thing at a pretty accelerated timeline, because it is Elon and he has the best teams backing him. So I would give him probably a 1 to 2 year timeline on something like this, because he goes out and accomplishes impossible things in really quick time frames.
Yeah. Crisis mode is what he likes to call it here. Guys, it's been a great episode. I do want to say one more reminder. We're going to be moving over to Discover starting next week. And it has been an excellent episode today. And so now we're all going to be in the same chat. Even got a DZ spit take today. And I want to give a big shout out to Linqto as well. One of our supporters of the channel. You can check out the description below where you can invest like invest like a shark. That's like a whale. That's what I say. All right. Well, it looks like it was the birthday guy. You're not going to get the whole song, but happy birthday. I'll give you that much. And but first, we're going to go around the blockchain with a simple yes, no. No need to elaborate. I'll start with blood. We'll go counterclockwise here. Crypto blood. Will Twitter roll out the dollar thing globally?
Yes.
Drew Wolfer, will they charge everyone in the world the dollar?
Yep.
All right. Fettucine, do you agree? Is it going to continue expansion?
Yes.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say no. And Scott, what do you say? Then feel free, leave us with the parting thought.
No, I do. I think they're going to do it for sure.
All right. Well, Scott, you won the episode, so feel free. Leave us 10, 20 seconds of parting thoughts, man. The floor is yours.
Hey, you know what? It's my 39th birthday today. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day, a wonderful week. And it's days like today where you reflect on the journey that got you to where you are, and where you should take some time to see where you want to go. Just make sure wherever you go, it's filled with the people who love you and respect you and want to see you do your best in your life.
All right. Great parting message. Hit the like button just for that being a great parting message.
I'm about to cry, man.
I mean,
That was good, Scott.
I'm going to get that transcribed as a tattoo. So, Scott, next time I see you, go ahead and sign it. All right, folks. Everyone's link is in the description below. I highly recommend. Check out all their content. Go watch their latest video. Leave a thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment. And that's all we got for you. And we have coffee and brunch tomorrow. Otherwise, see you Monday.